Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, we've talked a lot about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obviously, the season finale was last week, and the last two episodes, in my eyes, were the best ones. And we had some good stuff. And my whole thing about Obi-Wan Kenobi, which you guys know, is, me and Scott pretty much had a similar thing where it's like, there's a lot of hit and miss when it comes to the series, but those last two episodes were absolutely fantastic. And that one scene between Obi-Wan and Darth Anakin, that was the strongest scene of the whole thing. But apparently, we have a new article right here. So apparently, you know what fucked up Obi-Wan Kenobi becoming a film and becoming a trilogy of films? Solo. Yeah, apparently that's what happened. Obi-Wan Kenobi film trilogy plan got derailed by bad Solo box office, says devastated screenwriter. This just shows you right here, the fucking suits. You have a bunch of freaking. You're constantly winning when it comes to the box office, constantly winning, and then you try something, you do a Solo movie, Han Solo prequel movie, it doesn't do well, and then all of a sudden they start panicking. This is what happens with fucking movie studios, which sucks. Had Solo, a Star Wars story, not disappointed at the box office in 2018, then Obi-Wan Kenobi might have been a full-fledged movie trilogy instead of a 6-episode Disney Plus limited series. Screenwriter Stuart Beattie has story by and or written credits on multiple Obi-Wan episodes, but he recently told The Direct that he had no involvement with this Disney Plus series. Beattie's credit carried over from his work drafting the first movie in an intended Obi-Wan trilogy. And here's his quote right here. I wrote the film that they based the show on. I spent like a year and a half working on it, and then when the decision was made not to make any more spin-off films after Solo came out, I left the project and went on to other things. Joby Harold came on and took my scripts and turned it from 2 hours into 6, so I did not work with them at all. I just got credit for the episodes because it was all my stuff. Yeah, he doesn't sound too happy. And then it says right here, Beattie said that the original Obi-Wan pitch to LucasFilm was 3 stories because there's 3 different evolutions that the character has to make in order to go from Obi-Wan to Ben in New Hope. The first one was the first movie, which was the show, which was surrender to the will of the Force, transport your will, surrender your will, leave the kid alone. The second movie was thinking about where Kenobi ends up. And one of the most powerful and probably the most powerful moment in all of the Obi-Wan's story is at the moment where he sacrifices himself in A New Hope. Great moment, makes you cry. But if you stop and think about it, it's a pretty sudden thing to just kind of go be fighting a guy and see Luke and go, I'm going to die. That to me, that required forethought. That required pre-acceptance that this was going to happen. Beattie's second Obi-Wan film would follow the character coming to terms with his own, his own life, mortality, thus giving more clarity to his New Hope sacrifice. The film would get him to the point where Obi-Wan has accepted the idea that he's going to die and that he's going to die willingly at a crucial moment. The second Obi-Wan movie never moved into development as Beattie was still working away on the first film when the studio pulled the plug because of Solo. I really hope we do another, McGregor has said, so kind of makes you wonder that they were planning on doing a trilogy, and what we saw was essentially... And we even talked about this. We talked about this on the last Vodka stream, how it felt like they took a story and they tried to stretch it out as much as possible into 6 episodes, essentially a little less than 6 hours, probably around more 5, 4.5, whatever the hell. It kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, so if we're going to do a little bit more, which they can do, they could do a season 2, just don't do any Skywalker stuff, no Vader stuff. Maybe you can have a hint of it. I don't know, but just don't do it. There's so much that they can do when it comes to Obi-Wan Kenobi continuing. Just leave Luke and Leia where they are. That story is wrapped up. Vader, pretty wrapped up too, but there's still some story they could tell when it comes to Obi-Wan Kenobi getting to where he is. I like what he had to say because, yeah, when Obi-Wan is fighting Vader in New Hope and he sees basically Luke and Leia and just kind of goes, you know what? Yeah, strike me down, bitch. You'll see what happens. And he did. And that's what happened. And he helped, of course, Luke, shoot the little torpedoes in the hole. Yeah. So kind of makes you wonder, are they going to take any of the ideas that were had for a possible season 2, possible season 3? I don't know. But they got to, the problem with Lucasfilm is they had one movie that wasn't that bad. They had one movie that didn't do that well. They were going to do this spin-off anthology shit, and the first one was up, it didn't quite hit the mark, and then they just dropped everything. They just fucking dropped it. They got scared because they had win after win after win after win. Even though people might have griped about what they saw, it was money, 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 money. Oh shit, not so much money. Time to stop and just redo everything. They panicked. So instead of getting an Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy, which I think would have been pretty damn fantastic, we got at least one season of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which felt a little cheap at times. Some of the scenes, you're kind of going, yeah, what the hell? Don't they have a lot of money they could spend on this? We've talked about that sometimes there's things that get a little wonky. But there you go. Fucking movie studios, right? They always panic. They always just panic. It's ridiculous, but I don't know. I hope they do a season 2, and it has nothing to do with Skywalkers or Vaders or anything like that. There's so much else they could do, and we love Ewan McGregor so much. He's such a great Obi-Wan. We just love the guy. He's so likable. Just everything. It's just great. It's absolutely great.